Hey everybody, welcome to the Women's Health Podcast. We've got Tony, Kiko, Lisa, JJ, and we will be talking about food, health, hormones, everything to do with women, all that sort of fun. And the special guest or new person to our panel is JJ, and I have her covered up there in comments. I'll just move that. And she's going to be sharing her raw food journey, her plant-based journey, how she healed a lot of pain, and she's been looking after her hormones, and even her allergies went. So welcome, JJ. And yeah, well, I've said welcome to everybody, but take it away, JJ.
I'm so happy to be here. I always watch these episodes and I love all of you ladies and your story and your honesty and the journey. So I'm excited to be here with you all. I think I've met most of you on the raw food parties a couple of times. So, and of course, I've known you all from social media, but this is as close to in person as I've gotten. So I started this back in 2019. I was like, grew up in the standard American diet, eating, meat, dairy, just not the best diet ever. Every now and then I would get on a health kick, or what I thought was a health kick then, which would have been like salads with ranch dressing all over them, which I know, now it wasn't the best thing. But so I went through a couple of ups and downs in diet, but this really all started at 42. I was looking for how to grow sprouts. So we were trying to get just a little bit healthier, and we had seen something about, sprouting and you can grow these in your kitchen, and we thought it was cool. And what ended up happening is I saw this video called Raw, and it had all these people healing, like, things I had heard my entire life you needed medication for, like diabetes, and they had lost a bunch of weight, their skin was glowing, and I just noticed, I'm like, these people look so healthy. Like, I've never seen anyone, and I'd never heard anything like this. They're eating uncooked food. Like, what is happening here? Like, I didn't even ever know really what vegan was. I had kind of, had to order food in my delivery service for people, but I always just kind of never really paid attention to what it was. It was just like, oh, they can't have this, and this. So I was like, I'm going to try this, because I was about 50 pounds overweight, and I had these big salads, because the only thing I knew how to make. And I said, I'm going to do this for 3 days. And literally after 3 days, I was already feeling good. And I continued and continued. And like after about a month, I noticed like chronic back pain it was just, gone after 30 days that I had dealt with for like 18 years. I had, like, Sky said, my seasonal allergies never returned. And I lost 55 pounds within 6 months. So it was just like, I just felt like I wanted to tell everybody about it, like, and I probably did. So I started like the Facebook page, later on a YouTube, and I just wanted to really, help people. And now I have a private community that I call the Plantsformers, a little, spin on Transformers, and just basically show people, especially women, that the food means a lot. You don't have to do everything at once. You don't even have to go completely raw at like I did, because I've been through all, gamuts here of the diet. I've went into processed foods for a while, whole food, plant-based, and eventually I always returned to raw. It's where I felt best, but I think people find healing benefits in the way that it works for them. So that's kind of my little weird story of becoming a raw vegan at 42.
And I think that's so amazing. So amazing. I'm so proud of you. And I know, because I do a podcast, we talk a lot about mindset and the mind. And I know you've brought up before during this period that you feel that the way you eat has changed as you've aged. And I know as we age, our cycles change. We go into perimenopause, menopause. How has that changed, or what have you noticed as you've gone through this basically stage of being raw?
I've noticed really big changes from that first time, like when I first started this diet, from like when I was 42. It seemed like the weight just dropped off of me, and things happened really easily. And then I I don't think that's mine over there. I was looking at the comments. I just felt like as I reached like my mid 40s, around 45, 46, um, things just weren't happening like it. I just didn't feel like myself, you know, and I'm thinking, well, I'm eating this like what I thought at the time was a perfect diet. And, you know, it was just, I realized later on it was hormones. And instead of saying like, I'm doing everything wrong or I don't understand why I might be having these cravings now, what I did was find a way to kind of work it out within the raw diet. And it for me it was adding a lot more healthy fats, and I do have a little bit more, you know, weight than I did then from time to time. I feel like it fluctuates, and I've learned not to like, you know, really freak out or worry about that. Like, oh, you know, I have to find a new way to do everything. It's just kind of, I've gotten into a groove with it, but I have had to tweak it along the way. So I would just say to people that if you are finding you're not feeling yourself mentally, it doesn't mean that, you know, the raw food diet or the vegan diet's not working. It just might mean you have to find a different way to make it work for you. Because, you know, from everything I've studied and from my own journey, and going into other, you know, diets, like I went into the regular vegan diet, I would get inflammation. Like I know this is the right diet for me physically, and within it though, I feel like we have to tweak it as we get older, because I would have sworn to somebody, no, you have to eat, you know, this much fruit and you have to eat one salad this big and you'll be fine, until I got to, you know, empathy comes from, I think, wisdom of being older and living different parts of your life. So I think when people are very regimented in helping people, there is a certain standard way that we have to eat. And as far as digestion, but I think within that, depending where we came from, as how we ate before, what pre-existing conditions we have, there's a different way that we can all get to health. And I've noticed that even more, you know, especially mentally, to feel good and feel myself by tweaking the diet and everything within it.
Thank
Yeah,
you. So just before
yeah,
someone says something, can everyone, just a reminder to keep if your channel's connected, keep your eye on the comments. There's some comments that need to be removed there, or just comment really. Yeah,
yeah.
sorry,
I have
go
a
on. I think you go.
Yeah, JJ, thanks for sharing your story. So it's incredible. So you didn't even know or heard of vegan, and you just tried raw vegan.
Yeah, it
And
was so
that's a
it was
huge.
like cosmic that this happened, because it's so out of the ordinary for something I would have done, for the way I was brought up. It's like almost like people talk about when you meet your soulmate, that it was almost like you don't even, I don't even know who that was that decided to do it, you know, but I'm so glad I did and that it worked out. And it was really just a little 3-day experiment, and it just ended up like, I'm April 5th will be 7 years now.
Wow, so you just went fully raw one overnight and never looked back?
Well, yeah, I went fully raw, and believe it or not, after about 6 months, I had lost so much weight. I was getting the comments of, you know, "Are you okay?" And you know, of course, my family was like, "You're wasting away to
Wow.
nothing," and this and that, you know. And I was fine. I knew it, but I think at some point, some of that got into my head, and I thought, you know, I'm not feeling as strong, you know, as I did, as far as like my body image, because I think we get used to being a certain weight, and that's a big part of it. Me and Sky both, I know, studied psychology, so there's a lot more
Oh,
mindset
you too.
to weight loss, you know. So I think I went, that's when I decided, you know what, I'm going to start eating some rice and beans. And then that took me down the path of processed food. And then I gained weight. My knees started like aching, and sitting at my desk, my feet were swelling. I had way too much sodium. And that's when one day I was like, I don't feel comfortable. I'm gaining weight back. I'm going back fully raw. So it was kind of a, you know, it wasn't really as overnight. It was for about 6 months, and I got
That's
really heavy
amazing.
into it. Yeah, it was
That's
like,
amazing
and I
though
think
that
because
you
it
just.
was simple, so simple, I just ate one salad a day. It was like a big
I mean,
salad.
that's just really incredible. You went vegan and raw overnight for 6 months. That, I mean, most people won't be able to do that. So I'm so proud of you. JJ. That's amazing.
Thank you. I think it was when you start to see results, it was kind of like a momentum. Like I was rolling down a hill. I was like, oh man, I haven't been able to do this in my life to lose, weight like this. And that was the original reason I did it. And then I was seeing all these other benefits, like my skin was clearing up. I found like so much energy. I felt mentally more clear and getting more stuff done at work. And it was just a lot of the allergies going away that I had since a kid. So all of that kind of kept me going and down this path of not wanting to stop. It was something I tell a lot of people that, I've been in contact with that are trying to do this diet. Like you have to get excited about it. You have to figure out like why you love it instead of just worrying about everything you're giving up. Because I always say that first night, if I'm wasn't going to the store already and had nothing hardly in the house, it was like grocery shopping day, I may not have even done this. If I put a start date on it, I would have woke up the next day like, no, you can't do that. You can't eat all vegetables. But I think going out, getting them, getting all excited, and doing this. And then eventually, later on down the line, I've tried doing like mostly fruit, and I still love that. I still feel really good doing a lot of fruit, but that's another thing that kind of switched up for me. I kind of went back to my original plan, of the big salads, which has fruit in it. They're just a little more like savory fruits, that I went back to.
Interesting. Wow, super interesting. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I'm in my kitchen and moving around, but I don't mean to be disrespectful for all of you. I wanted to make sure that I am in this. So yes, thank you so much, JJ.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, I found it fascinating, JJ. So thank you for sharing, and I'm really honoured to be on the call with you today and get to know you more. How do your family feel now? Because you said that was the turning point initially after 6 months, you shifted back to some cooked foods, and then how does it all feel now with the family? Was it more of your immediate family that was unsupportive? Was it the husband or kids, or was it, I don't know if you have children, but curious.
No, it was just more like those couple, things like comments by different people, maybe at like holidays and things like that. And, my family was never really like unsupportive of it. I think they were just worried, about like, what are you doing? Because it was completely different than anything we had ever done or that they had ever done. But eventually, like now, it's such a part of it. Like I was telling somebody, they would probably think something was wrong with me if I wasn't eating this way. They're super supportive. It's just kind of like, oh, that's JJ, the raw vegan, and my mom was like one of the biggest fans when I wrote the book. She was out there like hustling them at bingo, selling books and things. So it's all kind of natural now. I just bring my big bag when I come everywhere with my, fruits and veggies to Thanksgiving. So it's a little bit difficult in the beginning because you're used to connection being around food. I think is one of the things that is hard with family and close friends. And I'm lucky that my partner Dawn, she went completely raw vegan and then went back to not being vegan, but then went back again all raw and then went to cooked vegan. So she's vegan now. So it's awesome because there's not like, it wasn't, I tried not to be like pressuring, but just kind of would throw in little things there that maybe little documentaries that I just happened to be watching. And so it all worked out. And that's one of the cool things too. I know we talk a lot about food, but I think after a while being in the vegan kind of communities, learning what happens in factory farming and animals and all the things that go along with being vegan, it resonated in my heart. So like no matter whatever happened with my diet, whether I was eating all fruit, all vegetables, all sprouts, or all cooked vegan, I would always be vegan. I knew that. And that was a big change too, because like you see the world completely differently.
You definitely do. You definitely do. Is anyone else? Go for it, Alyssa.
Yeah, I actually, it was hilarious this morning. I saw a reel, and it was a really young woman who was saying, if you eat perfectly and everything, menopause doesn't exist. You'll never go through perimenopause. And it was just really interesting to see stuff like that from young people. And I was curious, what were your thoughts before going raw about perimenopause? And how do you feel about it now that you're kind of in it? Just curious what your thoughts are.
I think that I'm still a huge believer that I don't get a lot of the symptoms that I feel like I would have gotten had I stayed on the path. I would have been, overweight, possibly even had conditions now like that already were starting that do run in my family, from just the way I was eating. I was at that point in life, I haven't done that in about 10, or actually it's been like 13 years now, but I used to own a delivery service. So obviously that didn't match up with the vegan thing either after a while. But what ended up happening was I was eating a lot of takeout, so if I had continued on that path, I guarantee I would have a lot harder time. But I agree with you, because in the beginning of this, when I was so sold and so bought in before I kind of actually hit, and again, like a lot of the physical things weren't bothering me. It was more like just not feeling yourself. I found that kind of happened in that period of time, and I noticed the better I ate and the more I kind of made sure I was satisfied eating enough calories, adding a little bit of volume to my diet, those kind of things. I still had to tweak it. So I don't think we can have this one size like fits all approach to this, because I wouldn't have believed it either. Probably like 3 months into this diet, I would have told anybody they could cure anything in 30 days. So now I've noticed that people are in different mental states. People are in different pre-existing ways that we've all eaten, and cleansing might have to be slower for some people, or in a different way, because it has to work in your life. It doesn't work if you're eating as bad as you can and then you're going on a cleanse for 30 days, and then going back the other way. It's just kind of like, I think sometimes it can hurt your body to go through that mentally. And I think just finding a way that this works in your life, however you can be a little bit healthier than you were before. And if I can be part of that, like I always tell people, start very simply. You don't have to know a bunch of recipes. You don't have, it definitely will help in menopause. I've seen so many stories of that, but it's not the cure all. You still have to work on yourself, work on, doing things you enjoy, and really being present with yourself in those times.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for answering that. I totally agree. I feel like a lot of people think, like you said, like it would be the cure to everything, but it's just like such an amazing, beautiful support for us through this time. And like you said, tweaking is so important. I see far too many people who are like stuck in like dogma, and they just don't want to change, even though they might be starting to feel symptoms. Because even though we don't have like huge amount of symptoms, I don't have a huge amount of symptoms either, but I know something's happening. I can tell that energetically, hormonally, something's happening. And to disregard that and to say it doesn't exist is kind of like, well, we can't stop menopause any more than we can stop puberty. It's just a natural phase of our life, and we have to like support ourselves through it. So I love that you shared that. Thank you so much, JJ.
Thank you. And I think it was a video of yours that really inspired me through that. I can't remember the name of it, but I remember looking at things because I'm like, raw menopause, like what's happening here? Am I not, doing something right? Why do I feel off all of a sudden? And it was really helpful to see that other people, were having that experience hormonal things, that it wasn't just we breeze through it, because a lot of the stuff like the hot flashes that I hear people having, and a lot of the different physical ailments, like you said, I can feel something's there, but I'm not going through a lot of the things that other people are experiencing. And I know just from how my life was before, the clarity and a lot of the things that happen when you eat better, especially if you've done both, like I have now throughout my life. It's a really good tool to have
Mhm.
to have it there. It's kind of like I feel blessed that I was brought into this information and that I had the open mind enough to try it. And if I can help people like enjoy the lifestyle and have fun with it and not look at it as I have to do this,
Mhm.
I think that makes a big difference, especially if you're in menopause. The thing, like sometimes that might not be the thing to do is change your whole life overnight. Like, so thank goodness I did that early before then, because that wouldn't have happened, especially like I got a little set in my ways a little bit each, older that you get. So it's hard, I think, to change things. And I think doing it in small little incremental steps, it can be really helpful even within like where you are now. If you're trying to tweak something, or maybe you're trying to learn to like maybe work out more, I noticed that really helped me when I got to a point where had the diet where I wanted it. It was that one extra missing piece. So don't be afraid to just keep trying different things so you can feel as good as possible. And it's normal. Like you said, we can't skip this. It happens. So it reminds me of allergies, because you know how you said it's there, it's present, but you're not really feeling it. Like sometimes I'll go outside and I'll see that there's so much pollen and I'll almost feel like a little something, or sometimes if I might feel like I'm getting a cold, but it never really manifests. I feel
Mhm.
like it's the same way with menopause, when you like can adjust your diet to where it's going to make you feel your best.
I fully agree too. Totally. It's all about the support. It's like,
Mhm.
what can we do to support ourselves through? Like, we're still going to go through time. We're still going to age. We're still going to go through all of this, right? But it's like, how can we support ourselves the best we can, not just with food, but like you said, with movement, with good rest, with good support. Like someone in the comments was saying, this is a really good comment. Hi, my wife got me to listen to a podcast
Very
about
good.
menopause, and I've been far more aware that I need to support her emotionally and understand that she's dealing with a lot. Get men educated on this. I know, I fully agree. Like, we're going through so much, and the raw diet is so helpful, but it's not the be all end all. We've got so many other things. And plus, we just got to love our bodies through it too.
And it's not like like I feel like um throughout the times I have to be okay with fluctuations in my weight, because I can eat exactly the same. That's another thing I've noticed. And I'm not going to just eliminate avocado or whatever from my salad because I'm feeling, bad about it, even though I'm a little bit heavier than maybe I even want to be. I've noticed I just have to let those times play out. It's not about forcing your body into anything. It's like, this is where I need to be right now, and as long as I'm, feeling satisfied doing my little workouts that I like to do and keeping my muscle, up, I'm like, it's okay. Because we can have such a image of ourselves that we can feel like we're doing everything wrong. And it's just, it's how it is. Like you said, it's going through, it's kind of being okay with allowing you to be a partner with your body. I feel like, because we're trying to like force it to do different things. Like even before I tried this diet, I was always like, I think one time it's sad to say I had like soft pretzels and turkey sandwiches, trying to like go on some kind of binge diet one time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, my poor body. Like, it was probably, what are you doing to me? Of course I would never have that now unless it's tofurkey, but I'm not going to be trying that one again. I just
Yeah.
the nutrients were so important. And sometimes we get like, okay, I'm gonna eat all this one kind of food, one kind of way. And I just found that didn't work as good for me, in middle age, I guess.
Oh, I know. Yeah. The body image and the idea that we all have to be like a specific size all the time for the rest of our life. And like, it puts a lot of pressure on top of all the stuff we're dealing with already. So I love that you have, embraced that about yourself. And it's just so beautiful to see, because we need more women being more loving towards their bodies and not so forcing into that, societal idea of what we should look like.
Absolutely.
100%.
I'm glad we said that, because it's like also being honest as well, sharing the transitions, and the changes. I think as like you say, you get rigid, Lisa, you do. We talked about this before about, when you first go raw, a lot of us go to the fruit, we're like, oh, we want to be right. That's what nature wanted for us.
That's what all the people that look cool online are doing, right?
Yeah.
They're climbing the trees.
The 20-year-olds in Thailand, right?
Yeah, that was one of them, but I was older.
There was a girl that thought I was in the tropics, but it was a background on this app called Bazart. And she commented, I think once, like, see, you can do that because you're in the tropics. I'm like, I'm sorry, girl, there's snow on the ground here.
And then you flip it off when you're in your bedroom.
Right, the green screen.
I do love what JJ said about being in, Sky and I talked about this moral compass, as long as I stay within the vegan, because of the moral stance on that, but also within the raw, like there is so many varieties of raw living where you can experiment and explore, like Dulce was talking a lot about the herbs, and I've been introducing more herbs into my lifestyle, and Lisa has as well. So it is adapting, and as you go along, experimenting, seeing what others are doing, and you've got to, I think, have agency. I feel now I'm more okay listening to my own body. So I'm glad you've shared that, JJ. Just appreciating that there are times in our lives and moments where we want to shift, and we want to allow ourselves to enjoy the whole process, not be so rigid and on just one path. No, I'm gonna do it, because I'm like the same, JJ. I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm sticking. My body's crying out. No wonder I am suffering. I'm like, no, I want to enjoy these. Go high. I mean, there was a period I went a lot of high fat, and it was a nice period of time. My body was enjoying it, and there's periods even within my cycle, within my month, I enjoy a week or two higher fats. I would say probably 2 weeks of the month I enjoy low fat, but I'm listening. I'm really in tune with my body more than I've ever been, and I do feel that raw foods really support that and really allow you to get it more in tune. Definitely for me, someone who was like you said, I went through the binge eating, my weight fluctuated up and down. It's a lot more stable now, but I'm more aware and more conscious of my body, and the mind and body connection is super high on this lifestyle. So thank you for sharing that.
That's amazing. I think you made another kind of point come up for me, was about being so dogmatic and regimented. I felt like as I reached middle aged, I realized sometimes what was going to make me happy, as long as, like you said, it wasn't going outside of my vegan diet. Every now and then I felt like I would really feel bad about myself if I went like a little bit outside of the lines, like, oh, well, they just had, walnuts, not raw walnuts. I'd feel like I was doing something wrong. And obviously I want to keep it all raw. But if I'm, depriving myself of just, coming from where I came from, eating takeout food almost every night, to eating walnuts. I mean, look at your wins, right? Like, I realized I don't have to, feel bad. We're on a journey here. We're not, we want to stay within the range of what we want that's making us happy, but also look at it mentally, what's making you happy at that moment, and not depriving yourself. Some people, if you're traveling, or I'm not going to eat any fruit that's packaged, or something like that. I'm like, sometimes you just gotta kind of, unless you can have Alyssa's recipes and make those big wraps to go with you, right? But I think that's just a big part of it. If you go out, don't be as dogmatic or feel bad about yourself if you're wanting, because a lot of things aren't fully raw, anyway, after we find out. And then it's like you're getting the slap in the face, like, oh, those nuts were never raw, and making people feel bad. It's like, oh, you know what? I think that's good, because I'm still eating healthy in my mind.
I think that's so important. I think you just made me think about myself, actually, about how I am so liberal in the raw foods. Like, I'm like, there is so much abundance in the raw foods. I never would call myself like a fruitarian, and I don't need to go back to plant-based or vegan, because there's just so much there. And even if I'm doing it in a certain way for a period of time, having that mindset of that I'm a raw vegan really helps me, because I just like it, you've got the fermented foods, you've got the seaweed, you've got the fruit, the vegetables, the sprouts, the dehydrated food, gourmet, I could go on, and it's juices, smoothies, and that supports me a lot mentally. But I did want to just bring up what you guys were talking about the weight changes, and edema in the body has such a huge purpose. And if you think about a woman going through menopause or through puberty, they put on weight because things change in the body. So you get different chemicals, and the body needs to put water there a lot of the time to buffer that. And so if you change overnight, we need to think of, thank you, body, for not letting me feel such inflammation or pain, like for buffering that area. And I'm trying to support you. And you also said, JJ, and I've known this for a while, because you healed the pain and allergies the most. Now, when it comes to myself and a lot of women I work with going through perimenopause and changes, the biggest thing besides the mental health, the depression, low mood, fatigue tends to come up as well, and just not feeling like themselves, is they start to get histamine issues and mast cell activation through allergies and chronic pain. So I think what you've done is really help yourself at such a great hormonal level already. So I just wanted to say that.
And I think also, I also know when I go too far, like, I love maybe avocados, right? So I'll go on that. And then I realize, okay, the knees aren't feeling what they were. Maybe I can look at a different way to, get that same satisfaction, and just tweaking it slightly, but not giving everything up that you like. You also start to have to get in touch with how things feel best and which diet works for you. And if you just give up on it, I think that's one of the things that might happen to people in, menopause, because what's working before isn't working the same, but it still can work. It just, like you said, maybe you need add sprouts or herbs or whatever the case is that can satisfy you.
Yeah. Back to feeling safe in like what your limits are, right? Like you were saying earlier, and some people that maybe they're happier they can do some high raw and some raw foods. But I think that's so supportive when you go through things to change it up. It's saved me, like literally saved me, I would say about 7 times in this lifestyle, that we become like the self-healer. So yeah, Dulce, did you want to say anything?
Of course. Well, thank you so much for sharing, JJ. I was just like super thinking about your journey with 3 days of salads, and then just going all the way to 7, 8 years now. You're gonna be 7 years now.
Yes, April next week, actually. I'll have to celebrate online.
Okay, let's start the celebration right now. So
Let's do it, right? I like the way you
Congrats
think.
on that, and for sharing ever since you started, like just feeling the need to communicate with your family, with your friends, or on Facebook, or just giving the message out there that what is benefiting your body and having this connection within yourself. And I totally get it with the family situation when they worry, or they are just wondering if you're okay, but because of the love that they have for you, right? So they want the best for you. And for people that are listening, sometimes it's so hard for the people that are around you to really understand, because once you experience it, you can fully understand that, and then you kind of connect with your body more and see the energy that is given to you. And maybe, yeah, you need to lose some waste and weight and physical, emotional stuff that we've been carrying, that maybe create some addiction with the food or whatever it is. So I am so happy that you started your journey, and that you're sharing here with us. And I agree with you with the image that people want to be selling out there. It's all this marketing, and there's so many things behind um, stereotypes of body and products and all the toxicity that it can be, or even in the healthy or clean ones. It's always a choice of everybody. And there's people that struggle to lose the weight, there's people that struggle with malabsorption, and we have to be dealing with how to nourish even more so we can get that weight back or whatever it is, you know. But I am so happy that the way that you're sharing and you're super honest and yeah, basically helping the people out there in your community and wherever it is. And
Thank
one of the
you.
things that I really agree with you is the knowledge that we can get. And I love the bundles because for the people that are like starting, I always say the bundle is coming. So go there and you're going to get everything in there. You're going to have, like, you're going to need more time to be diving into each one and learn a little bit from everybody and then just integrate it, because I think that's the hard part for most of all, to integrate it in daily life and daily choices and how to move and basically not everything about the food, but this that mindset, and also going from the survival mode to really relax and feel safe and heal actually.
Hmm.
So I think you're doing a great job, and just wanted to say thank you.
Thank
And
you. I
yeah.
appreciate it. I think you brought up something, two things that reminded me, like the family thing. I think in some ways, I reconnected with friends and family in a way that it became more about that emotional attachment and not about food all the time. It's like getting to know, okay, this is who I am and this is who you are, and we're not connecting around it. But that's so hard at first. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it takes time for everybody to understand each other and to get back to that connection that you can have that isn't surrounding outside environmental things. I think that's so important. And just what you were saying about bringing it back to, it's not only all about food. It's definitely a lot that goes on, especially in this time of life, and really taking time for yourself is so important. But having that food there as a tool is so helpful, because I just feel like keeping it very simple for yourself and then adding new things on. And I think that the bundle, like you mentioned, I'm so excited to be in it. Thank you guys for inviting me. But it's like that is such a good tool, because even if you don't want to try every single recipe right now, you've got all those on hand. If you're having some kind of holiday party and you want to experiment with something raw, there's probably a recipe in there for that, right? And then there's just things like simple things in every day to day. And then there's also things like courses and things like that too. It's not just, I used to think it was just recipes, but it's so much more than that. And it's like a resource that you can have, because community and just keeping things, like for me, I just always say, when I'm ready to eat, I reach for a fruit, vegetable, nut, or seed, and keeping that simple. But when people want to upgrade and level up a little bit, we don't all have the natural instincts how to mix these things together, right? So having those tools, trying new things, and then you might tweak the recipe a little bit, I think I'm probably one of the most kind of boring eaters, unless you call making super cool salads. I can cut fruit. I sometimes make faces with it and joke and say, follow me for more recipes. But that's like, there are others like, you guys that might have these, things that you can share with us. And I think it's so important how many people, especially in the raw food world, we want to give back and we want to help you, whether it's mentally, with some of the stuff that I like to teach about, helping you get, your mind in the right direction, staying positive about it, or like, physically, how to move, like meditation. You can always find someone who's teaching these things, and also recipes and ways that you can do it easily and fit it in your life. And I know a lot of that's going to be in the bundle. So that was a good thing to bring up. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to read it, not only as a person in it, but to just have it as a resource for myself, because I'm always trying to learn. I don't think we can get stagnated in our raw diet.
Yeah, totally. And I think also, like, for everything, knowledge is power, and just getting all the information from wherever you choose is going to give you that power, that confidence, that new perspective of, okay, I can prepare this, or there's so many options for anything and every kind of lifestyle, or if it's the raw vegan bundle or if it's just the vegan one. There's so many options for everybody, and different cultures, and it's just all the information that you may need, in my opinion. So thank you, Lisa, for doing this. I don't know, how many years have you been doing that?
I would say, I think we started, the very first year was 2021. I think that was the first year that we did the raw bundle. And then the next year we did 2. And then we decided 2 was too much because it was hard to like create, 2 new things. So now we do it every year, and it's every year in the spring we launch it, and we're really excited because I've got my perimenopause book coming in this one. It's 500 pages, guys.
Wow.
Nice.
500
That is
pages.
awesome. I've read a couple of books, and that is a lot of pages. Like, I think it's hard to write a 100-page book.
Yeah, I can't stop.
Oh my gosh.
That's amazing. That is going to be some good information.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I was just thinking as you were saying that. So when I start, because I've done the bundle a couple of times, and when I start doing it, I get up and I'm like, guys, there's all this, and you get it for this low cost. And I start talking about it, and then I'm like, oh my God, there's nothing better than this. I got to make another. And I start hyping myself up, because it's different and I don't promote a lot of things just because that's really, it's not a lot of what I do. But this is something I do, and then I get nervous because I'm like, oh, I've got it. There's something not pre-written, but I have it structured out. But then I'm like, and there's this, and there's this, and I start hyping myself because I'm like, the thing can sell itself.
Right.
That's so good. Like, you just keep going. There's more and more, and the more you dive in, you're like, and there's this. So it's so amazing.
I just wanted to thank some of the people from my community, and I think that watch us are on here. So thank you. Uncaged Heart Coaching, that's Mariquita and Maribella, of course. Thank you. And Carl. And I just see so many awesome people in the comments. I wanted to thank you guys all for coming and supporting us.
And Kiko is just going to drop off. Thank you for
Thank you.
joining.
Thank you, Kiko. I'm so glad to see you.
Bye-bye.
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 Okay.
I think, when does it come out? Someone asked. Is it May?
First of May, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Exciting times.
I know. I'm so excited for everyone who's coming in here. I love that we've got so many strong voices in this one. So
we're going to bundle up. That's what I'm
Yeah, literally.
yes, we are.
JJ and her puns. I love
you knew
it.
I was going to have one here for you. I couldn't go without
one
bun. We should all wear our hair in buns the day the bundle comes out.
Yeah, they're asking. So it's May 1st. People are asking, right?
Yep, May 1st.
It's May 1st. Okay.
And it's only 11 days.
Yeah.
So, and I love the bundle too, because it helps us as creators to create new 100%. Things every year. Mm-hmm. So it's fresh, it's new. We don't have like stuff from 10 years ago. Yeah, we're still selling that kind of stuff, but it's like we can stay up on like new science, new thoughts, new ideas, and things like that to share, as opposed to, staying, I don't want to say stagnant, because our old stuff is still valuable, but it's like, we want that freshness coming in every year. So that's another reason.
Because we change as well, like we shared. Yeah. We're in this space of ever evolving, shifting in certain times, and it's good to share that honesty and being able to support for those that are so rigid. We don't have to be rigid.
There's enough rigidity. That. Rigidity, is that how you say it?
Yeah. Thank you, Tony, for saying that, because it's so true. People are so scared to shift within raw. Like it's raw or vegan, like no big deal.
Yeah.
Like if we can shift and change within and see what works for us, because what works for a 32-year-old woman or a 32-year-old man, for example, is not going to be the same as for a 48-year-old woman. So it's like, it's so important to listen to yourself and come back to your body and look at what you can do, and you can feed yourself and you can support yourself. Because again, like, if you're cold plunging and that's causing a lot of stress, which it does for women, like cold plunging isn't the greatest thing, especially in perimenopause and menopause, because it stresses our bodies out too much. Our poor adrenal glands are like taking over a lot of the work. And when we put all that extra stress, we skip meals because we're trying to intermittent fast. And, like we're like forcing all of these like diet rules onto a raw diet. It's like, for some people, it's just too much. And it can cause a lot of problems in the future too. So I love that you mentioned that. It's so important to shift and change and try things out within the raw vegan umbrella.
Yeah.
It just like reminds
room
me of
for it all.
Of course. So some questions have been coming through, and I just wanted to address some of them. And I will just start with this one, just because I am on not on HRT, I'm on estrogen therapy, so I don't take the whole package. So this comment was, glad I caught this live. Raw eating, I think I finally, even in a remote location, getting hormones or vaginal cream is another matter. What is a good online source? Now, I think the first, and I'm taking it because I had a hysterectomy at 30. I'm almost 45 now. I did give it a break for a few years, and I found just pain and mental clarity. I needed to put a bit of estrogen replacement in. And in fact, since I've tailored my diet more to, I'm eating no sugars at the moment and high omega-3s, I've dramatically dropped it. So diet plays such a huge role on how much I even need anything externally. I mean, I've had 60 surgeries, 8 organs removed, and the only thing I need is a little bit of estrogen and the raw foods. So that's amazing. The first thing I would ask myself is, do you want it because you read women are using it? Or is it something you feel you're still lacking? Because I feel like, I mean, I am using it and I've had all these organs removed, but I would first ask myself, where are you at? And also look into herbs, adaptogenic herbs as well. They're root vegetables, can help, like the maca powder, and even things like ginger and turmeric, and Dulce can probably speak on more. And I know Lisa can with the ashwagandha and things like that. So it doesn't. Yeah, you have to dive straight in. Now, I don't think you can buy them without, and that there's a pill package of whether you're using testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, and what combination. And I would be talking to my GP, or if you're in remote places, if there's Zoom, you can talk to your GP before you're referred to, I would say, a gynecologist or women's doctor who does specialize in this. Because remember, if you see a GP, they're like that front line. If they can prescribe a lot, but they're an expert in really nothing, because medicine is so broad. They're that, I say nothing, but it's better when you're getting something specialized to speak to someone, then think it through. But my biggest thing is, I want people to understand is, don't take something just because mainstream media says you need protein, you need 10,000 steps, and you need hormone replacement. Because I do think diet and a whole lot of herbs, adaptogens and things can also help. So that was all I wanted to say. It's helped me a lot. I lowered the pain, just my joint pain, and cognition, skin, it was a lot better. I was aging very fast, but then remember, I've had a lot. So and then once I fixed my diet again recently, I've just completely, it's very minimal now. So diet makes such a huge difference. So
I think that's one of the things I love about, Sky, and I've heard all of you ladies do it, like the honesty, like when you come on and tell us something that's going on with you and don't hide that, and then you tell us how you fixed it. I think that's so important, because people can think something's wrong with them if they're just seeing everyone that thinks everything is always, perfect all the time, and especially in menopause. So I commend you guys for doing that. And I look at it, when you were talking about the cold plunge and things, I started looking at it as, how they say if you have a heater or air conditioner, it has to work so hard to get it back to the temperature. It's like, when I started looking at my body, is it wants to stay even. It doesn't want to go up here and down here. It just wants to kind of be here mentally, physically. It's like homeostasis, instead of looking at it at what extreme can I go to force my body to do this today. It's more like, how can I keep my body and my mind even and happy, and not have to go through those big ups and downs or fluctuations in weight, other than what it's going to do already if I stay within what I, feel satisfied to eat.
Powerful. Yeah, it's so true. So true. And, there are a couple, there's two websites that I'll mention. One is called By Winona, BYWINONA. So it's kind of more, it can help. It's just a resource really for some women, By Winona. And then there's another one called miracare.com. MIRACARE, miracare.com. They actually have like a at-home hormone testing kit where you can test your hormones pretty much daily, and it gives you like a chart of how things are going. And from there, you can take that information to your GP, and you can talk about it a little bit more than just getting like one blood test. Is just a snapshot of where you are in wherever you are in your cycle. So having like more information like that might be helpful in deciding what kind of cream you should have. Because if you don't know where your hormones are at, like say you have, a decent amount of estrogen, but your progesterone's super low, maybe having a little bit of estrogen cream on your arm at night for a specific amount of weeks during the month might be helpful for you, but you won't know that until you get the tests done, so that you can know where your hormones are at, or if you need testosterone or if you don't. So yeah, like Sky said, it's like so important to explore that within your body, because what works for one woman might not be ideal for another. And with the herbs are so amazing. Like I have been loving ashwagandha. I know it's not, different herbs for different people for different reasons, but I've been loving the ashwagandha. I do ashwagandha, rhodiola, and shatavari, a combination of the three. And those have been so helpful with like helping me deal with stress, because I have always been I'm like high functioning anxious. That's what I've always felt that I have had, for the majority of my life, or I have high functioning anxiety, where it's like, I just keep working no matter what. And it kind of like subdues any anxiety that I would have. Since going raw, obviously that has improved dramatically. But, going into this perimenopause thing, I'm noticing that I can handle stress for sure, but it's not the same way that it was when I was in my 20s or 30s. It's definitely a little different. So having those herbs in there have really helped to stabilize that when we go through a lot of stress, especially over the summer when Nate was in the hospital and I was going through a lot of other stuff too. It was pretty stressful over the summer, but those herbs really helped me through. So I just keep taking them because they're doing
exactly. I think Dawn takes ashwagandha. I don't. It just, for some reason, it doesn't agree. Like, it makes me too tired. But I do take moringa, and no one ever says it makes them tired. But I don't know what it was with me. But that's just an example of, we have to find what works within our own body, and it's definitely not one size fits all. And that the herbs are so, I think, I don't know if moringa is not an herb, but it's definitely something I take every day that also puts me I feel like it fills in those gaps of nutrients for me that I might be missing, because I stopped taking it for a while, and I felt that was one of the biggest things there. I just felt a little anxious, like not as, I'm always been like a calm kind of patient person, but like there's little things you can tell in this time of life that are different. And like, even symptoms of like OCD, I experienced like going through that, like just like you said, anxiety, different things that I had never experienced before in my entire life, they can pop up. So, not looking at it like something's wrong and figuring out what you can do to make it to improve those symptoms, even if it's something you've never done before, because maybe the screen juice worked for your whole entire journey, but now you need something a little different.
Mm-hmm. So true. So true. I love it. I love it.
Dol, did you want to say anything on the hormones?
Well, I am just curious to read Lisa's book. 500 pages sounds so good, like just to absorb more. Well, I will just suggest, like you said, test and see what your body really needing to support with, maybe a cleanse or something. If they have the ability to do some Johnny steam, which is a blend of herbs, and then you put in a pot that is like a wooden, or I don't know, something that is not with heavy metals or anything like that. And then you just sit in there in meditation and you let the steam go and clean your Johnny. And I think it's really, really helpful to clean emotions and whatever is going on in there. Or you can drink tea too as well. You can mix them both. I mean, not the same herbs, but you can drink some specific ones for the hormones, and you can do the steams to support and to clean. And it has to be like not on your period. Same with the cold plunge. I wouldn't recommend, like I will search more into Ayurvedic, which week of the month you will feel really good by doing a cold plunge, and stay on the other weeks, just honoring your body, especially the week prior to your menstruation, and see what works for you. But yeah, Damiana, I will search for that one. Along with the other ones that you mentioned. They're really good.
I love that. I also wanted to just say, back off on the how you can measure your hormones at home. There's actually machines. I don't know how much they are. I've seen some women when they're going through perimenopause, you can buy a hormone testing machine. So each day you just get a little strip, and I don't know how much these are, and test it daily, because like Liz is saying, is a huge thing about perimenopause and why we get the like tachycardia and the hot flushes is your estrogen will be higher, sometimes the highest it's been since if you've been pregnant. It literally fluctuates up, and then the crash out is when it completely drops. So that's like a really great idea.
Yeah, I posted in the chat, miracare.com. They actually sell one of those pods. It's about $300 for the pod. And you can do like, and you get it like it loads up into an app, and you can see like charts and stuff. So cool. I'm really tempted just for curiosity purposes,
You like doing that sort of thing. You're like, where am I with my microbiome? Where am I with my hormones?
I know. I'm just so curious. It's like, what's going on in there? I want to know. So yeah, I might just out of curiosity, just to see what's going on.
Thank you. I love that.
I never realized how powerful hormones were until I really started looking into all this. Like really everything literally, goes along with it. Like everything, even things we've experienced in our life, we didn't even realize. And I was reading too, and you probably know more about this, Lisa, because of your expertise in this, but like, we always think things are the food, but there's certain ways that our hormones can cause stress, and things can cause insulin resistance in the body in the way that things are, so all of it, I think having a well-rounded approach, especially in menopause, is so important.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. Like doing the research for this book is like, wow. Every single system in the female body is affected by estrogen. There's estrogen receptors everywhere in our brain, in our bones, everywhere. It's everywhere. So one thing that's really interesting too is how important the liver is in the whole equation, because the liver actually processes estrogen. It metabolizes it inactivates it during phase 2 liver detox, so it can be just like
Wow.
excreted through the body. But if we're not supporting phase 2 liver detox, and that's why a lot of women tend to gravitate towards more greens during this phase of life, because they need that liver support. And what's happening is, I feel in the vast majority, this is just my opinion, on it based on all my research, is that the vast majority of women, number one, they're not eating enough fiber. The average person's eating 12 grams of fiber a day. So they're not eating enough fiber. They're not eating enough cruciferous. They're not drinking enough water. They're not, getting enough nutrition in general. So their liver is struggling. And what happens is you get these hormones that aren't being filtered properly, and they're actually reabsorbing. There's microbiome bacteria that actually reactivate estrogen, and then it floats through your system again, which is where I believe a lot of estrogen dominant problems happen, is all that recirculating estrogen because we're not supporting our liver. And then we've got the gallbladder creating all this bile. And, when you're eating high fat, there's more bile that's secreted. And that is, I have a whole chapter on like the thyroid metabolism and weight section that talks about the bile, which is actually linked with weight gain and issues like that. So a simple one.
The whole bundle would be worth that book alone, right? I mean, I would just buy the book, right?
I'm so excited to share it because there is just so much. I mean, I can't cover it all in there either. I'm like, I need like 1,000 pages to go over everything. Like Dulce's sharing stuff, and Tony shares stuff, and you share stuff, and Sky shares stuff, and I'm just like, there's like more stuff I could put in there. But overall, it's so fascinating how important it is to take care of every organ in our body and every system in our body, and realizing that estrogen plays such an important role in everything. And that's why this perimenopause phase is so turbulent, because we've lived our entire adult life with a specific, cycle, and we're used to it. And then when we go through perimenopause, it's like, what is going on? Like all the hormones are all over the place, and we have to adapt and change. And then, I have a chapter in there all about why we go through menopause. And there's a lot of researchers, and I agree with this, is I believe that we're meant to preserve the wisdom of the woman. And having another pregnancy is riskier. So evolution has decided that it's actually more important to preserve the wisdom of the woman than to risk another pregnancy. And that wisdom is passed on to, the younger generation. And it's so valuable that we go through this period so that we can live through the elder years and be that grandmother, wise woman, healer kind of person, and accept that chapter as our new chapter that we're going through. But it's like we get this like decade where we kind of are preparing for this new phase of our life. So yeah, it's so fascinating.
I love all that.
You can tell you're very passionate about it, right? I love it.
When you were talking about the liver and the fiber, is estrogen, excess estrogen gets dumped, and it can only be excreted by being bound to fiber.
Yes.
So if I've ever juiced a couple of days, my whole system burns, and I'm like, Sky, you haven't got any fiber in your body. So of course, it's like being on absolute overload. But the other interesting thing about estrogen dominance, and this might apply more to people who are younger, is the world's best looking people are women, who have blood tests and they measure their hormones. Like what they try and figure out what's different about these women is they have extremely high estrogen, but their body is balanced. So estrogen dominance isn't always about having more estrogen. It's that the other hormones are not far behind, and that your body can metabolize it. And I feel like this is the whole reason we have to keep looking after ourselves, right? So that we can have all the hormones in our body. And I was also going to say one thing is, we think so much like about estrogen, progesterone, small amounts of testosterone, but our whole body runs off hormones. Like it's not just these hormones, and these all affect like the leptin and the ghrelin and all these things that make us hungry, and then melatonin, the sleep hormones. And so there's like a whole basket. But then if one batch, from what I was learning about I think it's the HTP axis, like the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal HPA axis, is one goes out, and then all the others are trying to compensate, so you become inflamed. So working on our hormone health affects everything. It's not just like the women.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I know it's such a deep topic.
It
I love
is.
it. I love that we
need
do
a
this
whole
every
hour podcast to do it.
month.
So you guys can keep, there was another question that came up. I'm going back here because there's lots. Sorry guys, there's lots going on in the chat here.
I can't get to those, by the way. I don't know where they are. So I was gonna delete them, but
I'm trying to go back here.
I don't have 3 dots.
I did see the 3 dots on some, but they were good comments. So
Yeah, I
So-
think so.
I wonder where they're coming from.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let me try Kiko's. Is she still streaming?
No,
Maybe?
oh yeah, hers are still there. I will unplug her.
Let me
that's a
just
good
check
idea.
here.
I've just removed her off YouTube. I hope that's, yeah, I've just
I
removed
think
her,
I
so maybe that
may have found them. Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Oh
And
no,
I'm still-
that says no comments on that. I don't know.
okay. I'm just going back up here and to see if I can. There was someone who asked a comment and I've lost. Oh, maybe it was just I did want to talk on this again, and I think I've gone back too far and lost the other comment. But hi, my wife got me to listen to a podcast about menopause, and I've been far more aware that I need to support her emotionally and understand what she's dealing with a lot and get men educated. And I think this is really important. But I was talking to another raw vegan this morning who reached out just asking about like what sort of people approach me for help. And I said the most people that approach me are people who have got parts of their stomach missing, got similar diagnoses, which I've had so many. And I guess that's the wounded healer, right? That you come across. And this person was saying, I didn't, and it's a man, I didn't have to heal anything. I just wanted to feel better. And I said, I feel like men's health in itself, and this is separate from women's health, is just not talked about enough. I feel like the way to support men also as they go through life is supportive communities. And in my experience, I think it's amazing for men to understand women, but I think it's even harder when you haven't looked after yourself first. And I don't know, maybe even just on that topic off the back of it, because I feel this is, and I'm not a man and I'm not an expert on this, and I was going to ask Lissa what your thoughts are, and Dulce as well, is because you have very supportive partners, very well-balanced partners who seem to do posts where, and I know John, so I know not posts, but seem to look after themselves as a whole. And what are some things for men or women with men going through life? Because they change. It's not as dramatic. If we wanted to maybe just talk on that a little.
Yeah. Nate is amazing, like you said. He's next level awesome because he embraces this kind of information. And I think a lot of men, they're not taught. They're not taught. I mean, all of us are under the patriarchy. So we're all taught, how to act, how to believe, what to, what a woman should do, what a man should do, and all that stuff. So men aren't taught about it. And also as women, we're not taught either. Our mothers rarely would talk about this kind of stuff. Our grandmothers, it's kind of taboo in a way, the whole hormonal stuff. So, menopause symptoms. Someone's asked Nate had any menopause symptoms. I don't think so. I mean, men go through like more of a 24-hour cycle. So where women are like a 28 to 30 day cycle, men are a 24-hour cycle. So they get their energy rush in the morning, and then towards the mid-afternoon, they kind of dip. And so they have their own little cycle. And, understanding what they're going through each day through their cycle can be really powerful too. And knowing, if they need their nap, that's what they need. And they have more energy in the morning. Like in the morning, I'm just like, no, I just want to lay in bed. I don't want to, I'm like, I don't want to get Nate. He's up and he could go for marathon first thing in the morning. And I'm like, no,
Not gonna happen, right?
And he likes the cold, like he'll do cold plunges. He does, he does those kinds of things more than I would, because again, we're different. And his body handles it better because he's just got different hormones. And yeah, understanding that and understanding their cycle is really important. But on their side too, letting go of the ego for both sexes is really challenging in general. But for men, if they can just let go of their preconceived ideas around perimenopause and menopause, and what society has all of us viewed as, like, angry old ladies, it's like we're we're valuable to society, we're not worthless. And I think it's brushed aside because doctors in general and other practitioners, you usually tell women, they're being whiny, or it's all in your head, or, there's nothing wrong with your blood tests, so you're imagining it. And it's like, no, we know something's going on in our body. So the vast majority of society just brushes off perimenopause and menopause symptoms as just being, or it's just part of aging, so accept it, but if men can release their ego and realize, like this person who made that comment, that we are going through a lot, and some of us more than others, and being there to support is so important. And Nate is fantastic at that. He accepts, like, I'll send him all kinds of perimenopause post stuff, and he saves them, and he watches them, he follows content that supports women, because he believes, that we deserve that support. And he actually is he does a lot of that kind of work in his men's community, where he teaches about, supportive relationships and how to be a good man to your partner, and how to notice the signs of perimenopause and what to do. So he does share that in his men's group. It's called Full Mast Empire on School. And yeah, so I'm just so happy that he has a voice to share with other men, because it's definitely needed for sure.
I love
That's
that. I
amazing.
just wanted to say goodbye to Tony, because Tony's jetting off. So I
Tony,
just wanted to
thank
say
you.
goodbye.
We
Yeah,
love
sorry,
you.
ladies.
you.
Thank you. That
We
was
love
amazing.
you, Tony.
See you soon.
Aw.
I love that. And I
That's
agree with you.
amazing.
I think men really need to have their own space between them and share that, and be vulnerable between them as well, and support each other. And I didn't know that Nate has that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad it bring that up. And oh wow.
Oh, she
Tell
got
a
so
lot of
excited she jumped off the
about
screen.
Right?
I put that do not disturb, but I don't know why I got a call. Sorry guys. Well, Jan is like super understanding. His integrity and his actions are like
Mhm.
truly what he embodies, and the way that he supports or makes me feel safe. I really never experienced from a man, and it's just beautiful the work that he did on himself before our relationship, that lets him to be the man that he is now, right? And he was evolving as well, and learning a lot. And the way that he is, not just with me, but with women and with the girls as well. Like, I am so happy and grateful that he is the way that he is with other people, but so respectful at the same time, that women can feel safe at their level, and he's super thoughtful. And whenever I was experiencing any of the health opportunities, I was one time I told him, like, I never felt like I was able to share my rawness as it is without being judged.
Right.
And the way that he supports, it's just like, I mean, I love him, right? But that's something that
So cute.
I think he learned even from the past experiences, where he saw how women were treated, and he just can stand. and and yeah, I mean, he can share a lot about that. But I think one of those things about the integrity and the inner work that men can do and the connection that they have within themselves, it's gonna be reflected in any experience that he approaches with our kids, with people that he works with. Like you just can tell, and he always wants to help others. So I can tell you a lot about him and how how good he is, and he he navigates with this cycle that women has um, with every phase. He just nails it, and I'm so surprised how good it is, and understands the moods, the needs, and just like the cuddles, the hugs, and all of that, and the nourishing. He says he knows like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like the menstruation phase, and he makes sure that I am relaxed, I am like at ease a little bit with work, and just supports the best way he can. He does it, so I'm so grateful.
That is amazing. I think that's so like interesting when it
Thank
comes to especially like, you know, all of us, but like a lot of times I know like we want to figure things out, or we'll get an instruction manual for something, we've got a piece of equipment, but like our partner, you know, getting to know them, just who they are and their quirks and what they need, but getting to know their hormones, like, you know, what Nate's teaching, and also like what we could learn about, you know, our partners. And it's just so important. I feel like that people don't really, that's not in the forefront of people's mind. It's always just like, oh, this is how, you know, he's like this or they're like this, kind of bucking up against each other in a lot of relationships. Where if you would try to understand, this is why this is happening, you know, the why behind things are so important. Maybe they may have been a little short with you, but if you know that that's what cycle, what's happening, it could be something you could work together with instead of it turning into a blowout fight. Or it could be something you could kind of you know, predetermine so that you can like be a little bit kinder that day, or buy, you know, not buy something, but like prepare dinner because you know they're going to be tired, or whatever the case is. It's just being respectful and doing things for others that really make the difference. And that one little thing you can say or kind word can make a difference to anybody that's in your life, at work or in your relationship. And the hormones play a big part of those mood swings, I think.
Yeah, it's really important to have that communication, and also uh, one of the things that we always talk about is don't like just keep our purpose in touch and support each other to keep doing that. And I know what is important as a foundation for him as individual, and I want to make sure that I am supporting those aspects for him, so so he can thrive on what he wants and vice versa. But I think one of the biggest thing is the communication that we can have, super honest, and being the best friend, and you know
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. Like that's so amazing. I'm so happy to hear that the relationships you guys have. It's such a inspiration for people watching, because you can get there too, you know, like even if it doesn't seem that way, just a little bit of understanding can go a long way in lifting each other up. Like you guys are each other's biggest, you know, fans in both of your, I always see, you know, Nate and you together, and he's always building you up, you're building him up. And like you said, your purpose, they'll say the same thing. You know what his purpose is, and you can lift him to that instead of putting each other down. I think that's so important in relationships. Being the biggest fan, right?
Oh, I agree.
You know, when I think of John and when I think of Nate, they're different, but what is very similar, and so much of men and masculinity in society is so scared of this. I feel like men are most have this drilled into it. Is there's femininity, softness, listening, hearing, And a lot of men think that that's a bad thing. But it's like, instead of talking to a robot, I'm not saying every man is like this, but it's like there's another, it feels like there's an extra part. They have an extra part in their body or soul. And that is such a gift, which I think deep down most men feel that they're missing, or a lot of men can feel they're missing, but they just don't know, where to go or where it can feel safe. So I'm glad you posted that group there, because I think that's...
Yeah, I'll share that on mine too when we finish, so we can put it in the description.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, he really wants to create kind of like a men's group where, again, men can feel safe to explore these things together without having, the women not judging, but they think that we're judging. But we're
Of
like,
course.
yeah, exactly. But having a nice safe place for them to talk about these things. And because Nate is so, like, he is very in touch with the softness, the feminine side of him, and all of us have masculine, feminine, right? So when the men, they like, they push away that feminine side of themselves, they're missing a huge part of being a human being. Like, it's part of everything.
Yeah.
And I've seen, I think it was like 70% or something crazy high like that of divorces in midlife are initiated by women because they don't feel understood by their partners, and their partners are disconnected because they're like, oh, it's not the same person I married. And it's like, well, we have to learn that we're all going through these like changes and phases and all this kind of stuff. And that's why, Dulce, when you said communication is so key, it's so key, talking about how you're feeling. But the other person has to be open to listening to how you're feeling and not gaslight you and tell you you're crazy, it's all in your head or whatever. It's like, we have to have this like give and take so that we can grow together instead of grow apart. So, yeah.
I'm gonna if she's still in the chat here, Uncaged Heart Coaching, I'm gonna ask give her Nate's information group, because I know that's a lot of the work she does, is interviews men that have kind of overcame that barrier of masculine, like masculine, like I can't understand women. So that's awesome. I think
Nate would love to be interviewed. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Sky.
Oh yeah, so I was going to say, what is so similar about you, Lissa, and Nate and Dulce and John is the same as when I interviewed Marcus and Larissa as a couple, and how they came together and their couple's journey is there is this constant, they're working on it together. There's a lot of talking through things, and they'll go through down times. And I didn't delete this comment for a particular reason. So it's not a bad thing. We just want nasty time food and silent time after to think and sleep. And what I want to say about that is, we were just talking about how most divorces then happen initiated by women. And that is thinking, in my opinion, in not trying to be judgmental on everyone has this right to do, live their life as they choose. But there's so much joy and happiness in being connected to the person you love on a whole spiritual level, and to grow old with somebody, knowing your hopes, your dreams, and the joy when I've been in a relationship, knowing that the person I love is also happy, and comes in such a big circle. And so when people say things like that, I think of how much they're missing out on. There's like, and that's just my opinion, my interpretation. And also I think a lot of it can be that ego, which can be so built up that I'm not even going to give room for that.
I will suggest the Parasite Cleanse, because there's a lot of demons around us too. That's
what Marcus and Larissa said. Marcus and Larissa said they had to do it together because parasites crossed into the bed. If one's clean and the other's not, so someone's cleaning themselves up and the other's eating meat and toxic things, is the toxic things will the microbiomes in the bed and all the touching, and then the parasites and all that sort of thing. So
yeah, our microbiomes, those two, they interact, and sometimes like, like when you kiss someone, you're exchanging microbiome, like your microbiomes almost communicate with each other too. And like our microbiomes fall in love with each other in a way. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
New card coming out. I love your biome.
And the hormones
I
too,
love your biome. I can see Lisa writing, having something like that. I probably love that. Your biome.
Love your
So-
biome. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there anything anyone else? Because I tried to have this for like an hour and a half. So
My
is
salad
there
is
anything-
waiting for me. I'm happy whenever you
Oh, you
guys
must
are.
be. I bet you are. Is there anything? Oh, before we go, Lisa, JJ, did you want to just quickly say what you eat in a day? Which I know it won't take long.
Me? Yeah, it won't
Yeah,
take long.
just people like
I
that.
have a big, huge, gigantic salad, and if I am a little bit hungry, I'll snack on like sometimes I'll have fruit like blueberries or something, and also I love dates for a snack or dessert, and I enjoy like maybe some walnuts or things like that, and maybe a smoothie every now and then, but mostly my life revolves around this big huge salad, and it's got so much stuff in it. I just keep adding things on, but right now it's usually like lettuce, tomato, cucumber, sprouts, avocado, what else, celery. Sometimes I'll do corn and sugar snap peas and carrots. So just big, huge salad, a very simple eater. And one of these days I keep telling Sky I'm going to try some recipes, but I'll wait. I'll
When
wait
the
for the
bundle's
bundle.
on,
Right?
you will be.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the whole fun of it.
But it's like I get excited to eat it, and like it's like I'm a routine kind of person, so I like doing the same thing every day. It lets me know I get a lot of time to myself because I don't have to prepare a bunch of food a lot of times. I would like to experiment, and I know Dawn likes to have different flavors and things sometimes, but I just am like, that's what I started with, so I think it's kind of like a nostalgic feeling now. Every time I have the salad, it's like, oh, this is when I changed my life and got rid of the pain and lost weight. So it's kept like a positive thing. And if you're like starting out, that's part of what I wrote in the bundle is, even though there's going to be a lot of things you can do, or you'll get like overwhelmed with information, starting with something you already kind of know, fruit and salad, makes it so easy. And then you can kind of build on it like a house with a foundation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And make the wraps.
Yeah.
Of course, and I want to try those.
Yeah, I
Like
love
I'm
that,
telling you,
JJ.
I was like telling Dawn I was going to be on here, and I was like, and the lady with the wraps, like that's how she knows of you. And she's like, oh, those wraps.
They're easy. If
I
you can
love
blend
it.
a smoothie, you can make a wrap.
Then
You
we
can,
got to
Jake.
do it.
I
I'm
can
gonna
picture
have
you
to.
having them
I'm
stock
gonna tag
standard
you
in
and
the
try
fridge.
one. What'd you say? I'm sorry, Sky.
I was going to say, if you have them in your fridge, you can put your nightly salad in there and make your funny
That's
pun
right.
joke. You're doing a wrap. I can picture it right
That's
now.
right.
You like
I'm a
just
rapper.
play on words.
Yeah, put your salad in the wrap.
Yeah.
Both worlds.
Sky said that's a wrap. Oh, good try.
There's so every time that comes up like a reel, I have to send it to you. So
I love it. I love when you hit me with those little veggie puns.
and I was just going to bring this one up as well before we head off. So true. My hubby and I have an honest discussion when I went through menopause, especially about sex and even kissing due to hormone changes. Raw food was an easy talk compared to that. Oh, good on you though. See, sometimes what is it? Maybe a lot. It can be, maybe. Well, I think that people are avoiding it because it is hard, and we don't want hard. So that's something to think about as well.
Mhm.
Listen, do you have any stats on this, or Dulce, or anyone, Sky? Like, is that the common age when a lot of relationships kind of go through divorce? Is that I think you were mentioning that earlier, which makes sense because, like you said, it's like you're different. And I'm like, I know I'm so different than I was, when I was 30. But luckily we've been able to go through the changes and kind of the ebbs and tides along with each other in our relationship that it's been since 2008. So, there's a big difference in who I was then. And then there's the whole just getting older and not wanting to go out. There's more of the, staying in, and then the career thing. And then we had the vegan thing. So it's like, if you were going to say, I'm not the same person, I have the same heart, I have the same jokes, but I'm definitely not exactly the same person that I was then. I've gotten, I feel like, more wise or better, but people might not think that, or they might think you're leaving them behind. And if you don't talk about those changes or those emotional things you're feeling, it could look like you just didn't want to hug them, when it could be something completely different you're going through, like the comment was saying. So I love that honest comment, because it's not that you're different, it's the hormones, and the raw food can definitely help with a lot of that. But it's important, like we've been talking about, to know that those things are still there, and it's not that you're a different person. You just have to find a new way to kind of get back to that homeostasis.
Exactly. Yeah. And don't quote me on this, but from what I remember seeing, it was most divorces happened between age 45 and 55, which is the perfect age, perimenopause, menopause. And about 70% of those divorces are initiated by women. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's really what you were saying. I wanted to touch. I was like, I knew you had some stat on that. And I'm like, that is so, like, it's so important to talk about it.
And I feel like too, going into perimenopause and menopause, women tend to shed a lot of care. Like they don't care about, like I'm noticing that with myself. I'm like, I don't care about, I care about how I look, but I don't at the same time, like, meh, whatever, I'm enjoying my life. And like, you lose your filter for caring about what other people think. And I think a lot of women, when they go through that, they're done with like, stuff that they've put up with for years. They've stayed silent. They've done all of the things that they're supposed to do. And at that time in their life, they're like, I'm done. I'm done. And then, so I think that's why a lot of women initiate divorce, because they're just done.
I had a just funny thought of Dawn tomorrow being like, why are you dressed up all of a sudden? Like, I didn't realize I was not caring about my looks, right? I'm coming around in a dress tomorrow. It's like, it's Saturday. What are you doing? I'm just kidding.
It's so true though.
When
I put my estrogen replacement back in, I'm like, oh, I want to buy makeup. I want to dye my hair. I want to go to the shops again. Had not done that in years. And like hormones play such a part. It's like that social reflection part. Now, it's definitely not like when I was younger, but they're things that were not in my consciousness whatsoever. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. We can be parts of, different people at different times. But yeah, it is interesting as we go through, these changes of life. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much. I love this so much. I love this women's health podcast.
Me too. Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Love
I
you.
was just
Love
reading
all
some
of
of the
you.
comments. I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for all the love and support in the comments, and the amazing conversation we had, and you guys all being here, and everyone who was here too. I appreciate you so much. This has been so fun. I'm just so thankful.
And we will be back next month. So thanks for joining, and see you later, guys.
Thank you, Sky. I appreciate you. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks.